This is day 42 of 100 Days of Making Comics, where I spend 30 minutes each day working on one creative project or another of my very own, rather than working on client work or other things. And I'm doing this really early. Don't even have the lights on. The only light you see is the light from my monitor. Because I got 2 hangouts later today, and I just wanted to pretty much get this out of the way. I'll more than likely be working my 30 minutes in between the hangouts, and this way, once I'm done with the second hangout, it's me and Lisa time. Spending time with the family. So, yeah, it's been a while since we seen a movie at home. Having Netflix, we watch way too many shows. I personally have been watching Sword Art Online, which I'm really loving. I love the art, the animation, story. It's really cool. Paul Kajeji mentioned it in a post a while back, and I checked it out and just been loving it. Totally recommend it. I'm going to get into today's topic, which is artistic lineage. And I'm curious about, uh, I assume that you watching this have some artistic ability, which is, the only reason I could see anybody watching my videos. And, you know, uh, okay, what I meant to say. So, yeah, are you the only one in your family that has any artistic ability? Do you get it from your parents? Are there other relatives or cousins or uncles, aunts who are artistic? Were you inspired by any of them? Or are you the black sheep? Are you the only one that spawned any sort of talent in that direction? Speaking for myself, a lot of people know me online and in the comic industry, and also my brother who does a couple of books, Jimmy, what's his name? You probably know him. Uh, yeah, we both grew up with talent. I think it was more natural for him. I know I had to bust my ass to really make it grow and come out. Uh, but I think there was a spark there from the very beginning. Not only interest, but just natural ability. I don't know. It is the argument. Do people actually have natural ability? Um, it's pretty much anything you love, you can get good at because you will put in the time, kind of thing. So you could use that argument like that's how my talent developed, because I definitely put in that time. But yeah, besides the me and my brother, I have 2 other brothers, and each of them definitely have artistic abilities. Anthony Tony, as most people know him, is he was an electronic guy growing up, and now he's a computer guy. He does graphic design, and he can do 3D animation and logos and all sorts of stuff. He sort of has a new business with boat cruises, and him and his wife are hosting parties left and right and stuff. But he definitely has an ability. He drew when he was younger, and it's developed over the years. And Victor, I actually like, because I'm the youngest and he's the oldest. And it's like when when I was still young, he left home. So it's more what I hear from my other brothers that he drew at home when he was young. But I do believe we get that spark, and probably get it in our genes from my dad, the original Tony Palmiotti. Um, he was an artist. He didn't make a living off of art, but he was around. He went to war um, during World War II, and I've heard the stories, through my brothers, and not directly from him because he really didn't talk about it, but um, that he was one of those guys that painted the sexy girl on the side of the planes back then. He did a couple of those, and I know personally um, that he liked to draw every once in a while. He'd come home from work. Usually he'd read the papers, newspapers. That was his thing. But every once in a while you see him pick up some paper and just draw some cowboys and horses and stuff like that. Uh, that really inspired, I know, me and Jimmy, because we seen him um, do that a lot. But he's never really public about it. It's just stuff he would do at home. Um, what he did do publicly is, he co-owned a paint store, house paints and whatnot, and that's how he made his living. But he always did like any signs in the store, advertising sales, half price, whatever. Um, he'd always make the signs, and they weren't anything totally extravagant, but I think I get my love of graphic design from watching him just create signs. Um, I worked a couple of times at the store. All my brothers did. I, you know, thinking he wanted my older brother Victor to take over the business. Victor had other plans to do other stuff, but yeah, just creating signs, and he'd do little fancy borders, and he'd do all the lettering by hand. It was just one of those cool things. Um, he's a man of many talents. He is uh, gifted in many ways. Like any dad. Essentially, we've had so many cars in the family, and he would always be fixing them to his best of his ability. Anything in a home needed to be patched, fixed, painted, whatever. He'd be doing just, just awesome dad stuff. And I miss him a lot. He passed back in 1988, and I consider, I was still relatively young, um, but, I cherish every year that he was around, that I could just be with him and hang out with him. And uh, yeah, I guess I'll get into this. A lot of my love for comics was because of a couple of things he did. You know, he knew me and Jimmy were reading comics at, like the first place we saw comic books was when we get haircuts, and they have Archie and Richie Rich comics, just to keep the kids entertained until they get their haircut. Um, and uh, One time he came home from work and told us a story about, they were selling the business van to get a new one or something. And well, the he purchased a new van and found out that there was a couple of boxes of comic books in the back of it that the owner just left there, or just wanted to get rid of it, just like he wanted to get rid of the van. And he brought those. He told us about it, and I think the next day, or that weekend, whatever, he brought the books home, and we just had a stack of books, comic books, random, probably a lot of DC, from what I remember. But he was encouraging in our love for comic books, and by taking us to comic conventions early on when we were still young. He just, you know, knew that we loved comics, and just brought us into the city. They were, back way back when there were comic conventions in hotels, um, and I just remember us going to them a couple of times. I think really the first big comic convention. Well, he to back up a little bit, he took us to the first comic book convention I remember going to was in the basement of a hotel out in Brooklyn, uh, just off the water, Golden Gate Hotel, I think it was called, and it was just like in sort of the basement of the hotel, a giant room. I guess they used for different occasions, and I remember the walls were filled with people selling comics, retailers and whatnot. But sort of in the center, they actually had a comic book artist, and it was George Perez, early in his career, when he was working at Marvel. He might have been working on Avengers. I'm not sure what the date was, but I just remember how awesome that was, and me and Jimmy went up to say hello. Mostly, I was looking, I was looking in shy and just checking out what he was doing. And Jimmy was all like, "Hi, I'm Jimmy, and this is amazing what you do." And Jimmy was all talky, as he tends to be. So that was. I think I remember that as the first real comic convention we went to, and my father brought us to that. May have even left us there. Maybe went shopping and came back and picked us up later or something. But I remember him driving us into Manhattan because we lived in Brooklyn, so we drove into Manhattan and went to, maybe it was Pennsylvania Hotel, I'm not sure. And he took us into the convention, and it was the first time I remember it being a real big event because there was like news crews from, why is it, it's too early in the morning, forgive me, from ABC, CBS, NBC, like all the major networks were there, covering, I think maybe even Channel 11, although they weren't much of a network back way back when. Um, were there, and it was like really exciting, and just wall to wall comics, and packed with people. Um, and it was something I'll never forget, and I thank my father for that. And it's definitely like, yeah, growing up, I was uh, really close with Jimmy, and we had a lot of uh, just, besides comics and movies and everything, a lot of love of different things. And definitely, art is a big part of what comics is all about to me. I said this before, but in the beginning of me collecting comics, was really all about just picking it up for the art. I didn't even read comics for the first year or two. Um, I just fascinated with the drawings and the storytelling and the styles and the colors and everything. And here I am today, producing my own comics. And, it's a lot of work. Uh, and they sort of say don't let them see you sweat. But, I think this 100 days is really, really about like showing everything like behind the scenes. Like, if I was to actually meet you in person each day, which is this what this is kind of is, and tell you about how my day is going, how yesterday was. I'm working on my craft, and uh, it's a little hard today. I'm trying to squeeze in time. I got all these other things to juggle. I'm trying to make enough money. Blah blah blah. But it's really the just something I love doing, and I do it because I love it. And the whole 100 days is to make working on our comics into a real habit. And this is day 42. It's pretty much habit again. I know, back in the salad days, it wasn't too hard to be working on comics all the time because I was making good enough money, and uh, pretty much had consistent work coming in. Pages come in, work on them, send them out. It's easier working for a boss than it is for yourself. So now the challenge is just to get off my own ass and get some stuff done each day, make some progress. And, looking forward for, the rest of the 100 days I got forward, I want to, like I said, have more videos where, yeah, I talk, but I'm also, maybe speed drawing on a current page or whatever, because I want to get, at this point, I want to get at least a page a week out. Make some real progress, and work towards getting some books published. You know, and I'm kind of like, yeah, it's going to be a year-end crunch for me. But I kind of do want to get past 100 days before I really focus on, uh, you know, publishing. Um, so now it's just me working on the comics mostly, and all the production and behind the scenes stuff that makes me sweat. All right, so another not short one. Um, but yeah, let me know where you get your artistic talent to the best of your knowledge, and what are your earliest experiences, perhaps? So like the video, comment below, share with your friends, cause it's the people that share my videos that are really like bringing it to other audiences outside my friends. And yeah, have a good one. I'll see you in the Hangouts if you're joining me there. If not, you can always watch afterwards. And I'll see you again on 100 Days tomorrow. Alright, have a good one.